Hi, people, I greet you wherever you are today, whatever time. I greet you, whatever country, in peace and love. So today I am doing a little cooking and frying some chicken. I have already got fried rice that I did yesterday, and I'm making some potato salad fresh. Let me see if I can show you all. So that we are frying the chicken and we got some potato salad boiling. While we are doing that, I'm gonna have a little story time. I'm gonna tell you all what it was like growing up in a home with my mother, who used to visit different Obeah men. We call them Obeah men in Trinidad. Some places you might call them voodoo men. So I'm going to tell you what it was like growing up in those circumstances, under those circumstances, you know. But first, I would start with the good bits. Before I witnessed the Obeah stuff, we had a good life. My father was trying. Life was beautiful for like 5 or 6 years. Life was beautiful for like 5 or 6 years. The first 5 or 6 years of my life, life was beautiful. Life was nice, okay? You know, I remember my mother and my father building a house, and behind the house my father bought chickens and ducks. We had goat, we had rabbit, and me and my sisters used to have to look after the goat and milk the goat in the mornings. Before we attend school, we had to milk the goats and feed the chickens and let them out. And in the afternoon when we come home, we would do our chores. We would watch Young and the Restless, and we would, in the afternoons, and we would go and get the goat in, get the chickens locked in, because rats and stuff would get them otherwise. So we had to secure them at night and feed them and stuff. We had our chores, and this is how my father was bringing us up. And every Sunday he used to gather us and preach the gospel to us. He would preach the gospel to us all about God. He would tell us about God. Under the house, he would have us like if we are in a little church, and he would tell us about God. And this is the upbringing that I had in the earlys. But one day, although he was doing all those good fatherly stuff, he was cheating on my mother. He had many different women outside. So one day, my mother picked me from school and she went to the voodoo man. And, that's the first day that I know about. She went many other times, but that's the first experience that I had with the voodoo man. I went to 3 other times. There was other times I went with her to the voodoo man, many times. But this was the first experience. And this experience stood out in my... I hope nobody phones me or anything, because I forget to put this video on. I forget to put the phone on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, this was the first time, my first experience with the voodoo man. As I said, there was many other experiences, but this was the first time. And this one stood out. The reason this one stood out, because it was the first time because I was in small school and it was the first time. And the things that happened after, you know, like when they went into the voodoo van, the voodoo man said, at that time my father, he had left and he gone by some woman. And this woman, whoever the woman was, I have my suspicion who she was, but he had left Trinidad and he went to Tobago to whoever woman pulled him there. He left everything in Trinidad and he went on a fest, he went on his fest and he was in Tobago. So my mother, she wanted back her man. So she went to the voodoo man and the voodoo man tells she what to bring and so on. And she carried it. Whatever the voodoo man requested, all he requested, she carried it. And he told her she paid the price, whatever the voodoo man requested and whatever she had to do, she did it. And the man said in 3 days' time he will be back. And people, in 3 days' time my father was back. But in those 3 days after he came back, very soon after, things started going crazy. I don't know whether it was a month or whether it was weeks, but it was very shortly after that things started going crazy. But before we get to the things going crazy, when my father showed up in the 3 days, I was shocked. I was surprised. I thought, wow, this voodoo man not easy. Whatever. It was just shocking to me, you know, as I was just a child, about 6 years old. But it stood out and it made an impact in my life up to this day. Everything, a lot of spiritual things that I experienced, it traces back to that, you know. So I was sitting on the stairs when my father came back that day, and his head and stuff was bandaged. He was in an accident. So I was sitting on the stairs, and at that time, as I told you all, you know, my father was a good father at that time. He met my mother. She had 6 children. From the time he had started having children with him, he was trying to do the right thing as a man. So he fenced around, you know, they built a house. He fenced around the back of the house. He got chicken, he got duck, he got goat, he got stuff that, you know, a woman would need if she have children for a responsible man. So he was trying, because this is what a responsible man would do. If you have 5, 6 children, you need to make sure the children have food. How best to make sure they have food more than buy goats, buy chickens, buy ducks, buy rabbits, and that's what he was doing. So all she needed to do is buy rice, because them chickens is multiplying, goats and everything is multiplying. So he was thinking right. So as I said, my father was a good father in my eyesight. From that age, I knew he was a good father. From that age. So what did I do? From the time I see my father came up the stairs, and as I said, before that, me and my father had a good relationship as well. He had loved his children. He had loved his children. I am telling you all the truth. This man had loved his children. He used to, as I told you all, you know, he used to send me to private school because he wanted me to be smart. So even though I was going to the normal schools, he was sending me to private schools so I can be extra smart. So anyway, I told my father, when he came up the stairs that day, I told him what had happened. I told him my mother and my sister, which is not his daughter, Georgia, they went by a voodoo man and they put something in his pillow. And he should not go there and sleep on the bed because there is something in the pillow. Anyway, my father told me to remove it. He said I should remove it. And I refused. Even though I was a child, I refused. And as I said, there's a reason these things stand out to me. And I know that, you know, the spirit just wouldn't leave me. They want me to tell the story and just talk the story. So I refused to move it. And the reason I refused to move it is because there was a voice and there was a force higher than me, stronger than me, bigger than all of them in that house. There was a spirit telling me, do not touch it. It will kill me. Inside of me, something was talking. The spirit was talking to me. That spirit now I know to be God. The Holy Spirit was telling me as a child, do not touch it. It will kill me. So I told my father, I'm not touching it. I refuse. And he got it out. That stuff, what he got out, I asked him later on in life when I started studying spiritual things and putting the pieces together of the puzzle. I asked him what it was, and he said it was bones. And he said he don't know what kind of bones it was, whether it was human bones, animal bones. He don't know what bones it was. Anyway, they remained together. They had big argument in the house, cuss out, big argument. I can never remember in my eyes, I never saw my father hit my mother. I never saw him hit her in my eyes, never. But the arguments and the things he used to tell her, like, you know, she should go and kill herself, and he go throw acid on her and destroy her, and nobody ain't gonna be able to recognize her. He used to tell her stuff like that, that as a woman, these stuff he used to tell her would make you want to just dig a hole and enter. You know, it was horrible stuff to break your self-esteem, low stuff he used to tell her. And then, you know, but anyway, they remained together. They still remain together. He stopped giving her money from then because he knew that the money was paying for the voodoo man. But that didn't stop us. That didn't stop my mother from getting money. She still used to take us as children, and we would go to the mosque and the churches, and she would find money still to go and pay them voodoo man. Wherever, I never saw my mother with another man either. She was not interested in any other man. She was just interested in controlling and keeping my father. So we would go to the mosque and get money. Anyway, as time would pass, after that voodoo came in the house, bones or whatever it was, life became a misery after that. And as I said, I don't know whether it was weeks or months, but it was very soon after that, life became hell. My father started calling his children, his girl children, and he had 5 girls and 2 boys. Well, at the time he didn't have 5 girls. At the time he had 4 girls. 4 girls. Right? So he would call us in the bed one by one. I can't tell nobody's story, but I can tell mine. I know what used to happen to me in that bed. He used to call me in early morning before I go to school. And it was not, it was molestation and rape early morning before I went to school. That is what it was. And my mother was standing there looking on many times. As I grew, she would put herself out of the way, but she was there. She knew what was happening. Okay? Because she used to tell him stuff like, oh, you're a nastiness, but she never done anything. It's like she was frozen, standing there, watching what was going on. I don't think she cared, really. All she cared about is that he was there. And when I was not being raped and molested physically by my father, it was happening spiritually. I used to have horrible dreams in that house. I saw my mother she collected stuff from different voodoo mans and stuff and planted at the entrance of the property that we were living in by coconut trees and banana trees. They planted charms and stuff there. The house was hell. My father basically turned into a monster after that. Not just even to his own children, but also to the neighbors. I saw things he do to the neighbors' children, you know. They used to always run in his property, run in his drain, you know. And he told them stop running in his drain. And one day he put nails like 6 inches nails into the wood, and then he cover it with dirt so that when they do run, it would stick in the foot. He done evil stuff. So we were beaten in the house physically. I mean, serious beatings that would leave marks and cuttings on your skins. I still got marks, cuts, where they would beat you, make you kneel on graters. I kneeled on grater. I get that experience. I don't know if my other siblings got that experience, but I got that experience and even forgot about it. I had even blanked it out. I forgot about it and I blanked it out of my head, people. But one day, my mother was having a conversation with my sister because it is my duty. I know my spiritual mission in this family is to expose the evil and break that generational curse. So I have been talking from 6 years old because I could not get out that Obeah thing out of my head. So I have been talking and telling different people in the family because I understood from young that the Obeah is what made my father change and his good intention change, and he became a demon. He became a demon in the house. Okay? So from young I've been talking. I've been trying to expose this evil from young. When we was not molested, we was seriously beaten. We was not starving when my father was in the house, but when he left, he left many times and he would go to different women. My mother would go to the Obeah and get your ass back. Anytime he leave and he go for a number of months, we used to go hungry. We would have to go and get, my mother would go by she ex-in-laws and get their stale food. They used to have a pub, so she would go and get their stale food. Or sometimes we even had neighbors stale roti. Yes, that's the truth. There's times, many times I used to go, picking oranges and fruits. Thank God for the natural resources that you have given us. I sucked enough mango and chenet and, there was many fruits that you could find around to eat. But, cooked food is the best. So yes, life after the Obeah, life became hell. Life became hell, people. And as I said, so we had the molestation, we had beatings with marks on your skin, and I mean beatings, it was like man turned into a beast, And there was many times with poverty as well. Things changed. We lost all our ducks. Like the ducks, bit by bit the ducks just disappear. Bit by bit the goat just disappear, people. Bit by bit rabbit, everything just gone. It goes bit by bit. The devil just, he takes it bit by bit. So that is what was going on. And the home, the mother and father is fighting left and center. He is up and down. She is up and down by the voodoo man, trying to get him back. And that is what life was like. My brothers and them, one of my brother, I told you all, who took his life, my youngest brother, they all witnessed these things. They saw their father call their sister on the blankets and molest their sisters and stuff. And all these things contributed also to my brother's death, my brother who took his life. All these things, because he came from such a household. The household he came from was a disaster. It was messed up. I never thought about taking my own life while I was going through it, seeing myself being molested, seeing my sisters being molested. I never thought about taking my own life. But I did try to take my father's. I did try with some rat poison, but it did not work. It did not work. He got sick, but it didn't work. Life was hell after the Obeah. Eventually, after all the running up and down by the different Obeah men and planting stuff here and there, eventually they're still separated. It's still separated. But my mother never gave up. She kept going to the Obeah man. Eventually my father, he sold the house where we had all those ducks and chickens and stuff. He sold the house eventually but before he sold, before he sold the house, We'll get there soon. Before he sold the house, I remember one day my elder sister came to the house. And that's the daughter who's not his daughter. And I think she and her boyfriend had problems. You know, they were fighting. So she came to the house. And in the middle of the night, she got up screaming. You know, all this time is like my father was trying to get on with her in the bed with my mother. You know, this kind of mad stuff was happening after that charm came into the house. And in the middle of the night, she got up and started screaming. And I could still remember the neighbor name. She run by a woman up the hill. The woman name was Christine. She run by a woman up the road named Christine for rescue. And she ended up sleeping. Christine opened her door for her. That's in the middle of the night, you know, people. Christine opened her door for her. And Christine let her in. Yes. Christine opened the door for her and let her in. It was a disaster. This is a sister who was, she and my mother used to go by the voodoo man together. My sister done a lot of voodoo for she. All the men she was with as well, she used to do them a lot of voodoo. It was normal for her. I guess because she seen it from young. So yes, and my father has sold the house with us in the house. One day we had a knock on the door. We had a knock on the door one day. And somebody said that they were the new owners. They bought the house. And we ended up on the street then. My mother, all this time, this is what the Obi are doing here. But she would not stop and recognize and put two and two together. I'm just showing you all. The spirit want me to tell the story. Because when you see you doing the Obi, it's like you are blinded. You can't see what's happening to you. Imagine, your home was not perfect. The husband was cheating. But you had all your children, your husband there. You had your duck, your chicken, your goat, all sorts. When you start going by this Obi man, you must be able to see, you know, yes, he did bring back your husband for you 3 days after. So maybe that blinded her. He did bring back her husband for her in the 3 days. So maybe that's why she did not put the dots together. But after the 3 days, what happened 3 months after? This man started sleeping with your children in front of your face. I don't know if she did not put the dots together. But I would say that let God do the judging. But I'm just telling the story. Let God do the judging. The thing is, I think it's like this, the devil blinds them. Yes, he came back in 3 days, but after 3 days, what happened after 3 days? This man started sleeping with your children, one by one in front of your face. You lost duck, you lost chicken, you lost goat. Now the man sell the house while you are in the house with your children. You have to take your children and bags, big bags too, because my mother was the type of person, like my ex-mother-in-law, they want to hold on to everything. They didn't want to throw away nothing. They don't want to give away nothing. You know, it has some people that just want to hold on to everything, even though it's stuff that they had for the last 30 years. And they move into another place, they want to take it. They don't want to buy new. So we had bags of stuff. Thank God there was a woman in the neighborhood who helped us. That woman was living behind my first 2 children father's house. A young woman too, she had children and she was a single mother and she took my mother in. Little did she know what she was taking in she house. But I thank God she took us in. But what I'm saying, people, be careful who you bring in your house and be careful who you helping. Because some of the people we are helping and bringing into our home, God is punishing them and dealing with them and their hands is dirty and they're going to bring things in your house. I don't know what happened, but eventually we left that woman's house eventually. We didn't stay there very, very long, but she was a safe door. I think after that, my mother went to the social services and stuff. And then what happened then after she went to the social services and stuff? One of my sister under me, some people felt sorry because my mother used to tell everybody, people vex with me now in this family. My family vex with me, a lot of them, because I am telling my story. But this shit is beyond me. And I am going to obey the spirits and do what the spirit tell me to do. Because the spirit will save my life. And when you see there is serious situations, there is nobody to help me but the spirit. So I have to be in alignment with the spirit. And spirit wants me to share this story and tell the story. So yes, after my mother, a lot of people, they are mad with me in this family for talking. But if you all know, my mother used to walk from Port of Spain to San Fernando and tell everybody what she was experiencing and what my father was doing to her. And some of the stuff that she used to tell was very, very intimate stuff between the both of them. Some of the stuff that she was telling was very intimate stuff. What he used to do her, some sadistic sexual stuff that she used to be telling. And I overheard these conversations. So, with my own ears. So, now that I'm telling my story, a lot of people mad. They should not be mad because this story been telling for a long time. I've been telling it since I was 6 years old. And my mother used to tell it to everybody. And because she used to tell it to everybody, I used to walk around with shame as a child, as a teenager. So much shame. I used to keep my head down. Keep my head down. Yep. Until so people didn't know what I had carried, what I was carrying inside of me. Until they think I was a fool and they come to cross me. And then the spirit inside of me used to activate and I used to defend myself. I used to keep my head down because I was just walking in shame. And I remember going in Williamsville Junior Tech School and all the children in that school knew my story. And they used to make fun of me and laugh at me and stuff. But I was a smart girl where sense was concerned and book sense was concerned. I was smart. So I used to be focused on my book. But one day this boy, his name was Arthur Wong. He made fun at me and he pushed it too far. And I dealt with him. And because he was the school's biggest bully, they recognized who I was after because he was the school's biggest bully. And I was a dummy. And because he come and tamper with me and hit me, didn't know the rage I had inside of me. I dealt with the school's biggest bully. And I had witnesses to it. And the next day, it was the school headlines. And after that, everybody respected me. And I still stood in my corner, mind my business. Because I was walking with a lot of shame and a lot of stuff inside of me. But nobody knew. Nobody knew and nobody could help me. But now, today, I understand it was part of my purpose to be in this family. And to experience the things that I experienced, to break the generational curse, what was flowing in the family for generations. And they were just keeping quiet. Everybody just keeping quiet. And some of them, they are so evil, the things, because it happened to them, it must happen to others. My job is to expose it. Okay? 1 minute, people. Let me strain my salad, okay? So yes, it's the same thing like my ex-in-laws. I normally keep to myself and I stay quiet. These ex-in-laws of mine, because they came and they poisoned me and they brought me that evil black shoes, and then they later put the shoes in the foot, they activated something in me that I didn't even want to wake up. I did not want to tell anybody this story. I wanted to be like many others and forget I experienced it, you know. I just wanted to forget I experienced it. I wasn't even aware that it was, you know, destroying my life, like relationships that I had in life. I didn't want to tell the story. But when these people tried to kill me, and then come and bring evil black shoes for me as a gift, and then they go on and put the same damn shoes in the foot. It's like they activated something inside of me that I did not really want to activate. But now that it's activated, I understand it's my spiritual path. And I have to tell the story. I understand that because, you know, I nearly lost my life for it, people. I nearly lost my life for it, so I have to tell the story. So, as I said, many people, they are mad with me for telling the story, but this is just my side of the story. My mother has told the story to many people many times. You know, but she never would tell them what she did. You know, there's many sides to the story, as we all know. So my mother would tell them what she was experiencing with my father, you know, his partying, his running woman, what he's doing to the children. She told them. But nobody could not help us, people. Nobody couldn't help us. It had to go through its course. It had to go through its course, you know. And many people experience molestation, rape. My brother, who took his own life, he witnessed all these things. And he used to get beaten real bad. Well, all of us used to get real bad beatings because, as I said, I still got marks from it. And I showed that my brother, he would have still have marks as well. But he's gone. May God rest his soul wherever he is, because God alone knows the life that that boy had to endure, the little time he had on earth. He took his life when he was in his 20s, maybe 24, something like that. And he left a daughter. She was around 2 years old. She's about 18 now. You know. So God alone knows what he endured. How in the night he couldn't sleep at night. Spirit would come and torture him. Just like how spirit would come and torture me. I used to get raped. They would come and tell my brother to go and kill people and stuff from young. From young. Remember I said, before my mother even sold the house, when my brother was younger, before my father sold the house on us, that remember I said, that same house where the Obelia charm came in. Before my father sold that house, he told my mother to go and kill my brother in the river. He said that brother who took his life, my father said my mother should go and take his life, kill him in the river. Imagine you are living in a house, there is rape, physically and spiritually. As a child, how do you understand these things? Imagine as a child, As a child, spirit is raping you as a child. How does a child explain that to somebody, that in the night somebody comes and sleep with me, but when you wake up there is, how does a child explains that? You can't explain it, people, and that's it. I couldn't explain it either until I got big and I started studying spiritual things after these people come to kill me. Then I understood that it is because of, you know, like if people are working witchcraft and stuff, they invite these spirits in. This is the spirit of incubus and succubus, the spirit what rapes children, the spirit what rapes people. It's called incubus and succubus. It's a male spirit and a female spirit. I experienced all these things as a child, but how does a child explain these things? So if you are doing witchcraft and stuff, your children will be experiencing these things. You know, they just can't tell you what's going on in their sleeps because you are inviting them spirits, and them spirits evil. They go and mess with your children. So I'm doing my fried rice now, people. I'm warming up my fried rice here. And I'm not going to be too long on this video, but Spirit wanted me to get this out. So yes, so imagine you as a child and you're living in a house. Not only do you have sexual abuse, you got not just molestation physically, but spiritually, they're coming for you as well. And not only that, you are being beaten, being made to lay on a grater, kneel on a grater, that grater, let me show you a grater. This is a grater, but they had a different, the square ones, they are making you to kneel on a grater, imagine that, yeah? Your children, it's like the house became monster. He was telling my mother to go and kill the child. Kill my brother, that same brother who later took his life. That brother used to get licked so bad. When he here, it's his turn to get the licks. Man, my brother used to start to pee himself one time. He used to pee himself immediately. I have a sister who used to, I don't know whether she was acting or whether it was real, but many times she wanted to faint away. I used to feel so sorry for my brothers and my sisters. So that when I see, you know, one of the things we used to get licks for is our books. Every Sunday he would pick us up with our books and we would have to say the 2 time tables. 1, 2 is 2, 2 into 2, 1. 2 2s are 4, 2 into 4, 2. 2 3s are 6, 2, and so we used to have the 2 into 6, 3. And we had was to say all these tables. So we had from the 2 time tables to learn till the 12 time tables, and you have to say it. You cannot just say 1 12 is 12, 2 12s are 24. No, you need to say 1 12 is 12, 1 into 12, and 2 12s are 24. And then you have to, you know, say it the other way as well. How much time if you divide it, you know, how much it will be. So some of it was too much for my siblings. I was very clever. Plus, if I didn't know, I think the 12 time ones used to have me very confused for a while. So I used to, you know, be clever. So I'll be like standing in front there and I'd have my hand like if my hands is like that, but inside my hands I would have a little tiny piece of paper with my answers, you know. So I was clever and I taught my siblings how to do that. I taught them that, but they basically used to cheat through most of it, you know. So my brothers didn't come out with much education, you know. My 2 brothers with my father, they didn't have much education because of the beatings he was beating on them. They basically had was to cheat through, you know. So by cheating, they didn't really learn anything much. But one of my brother, he went into trade and started his little, you know, mechanic trade. My father said to him if he did not like school, he should go and learn a trade, and he got him into doing masonry. And up to this day, is it masonry called them things what you do with cars? You know, like spray painting them cars and things. I don't think it's called masonry. I think masonry is to do with house. But you people know what I mean. So up to this day, my brother, he does his own little business with cars, spray painting cars and stuff. You know, like when a car damage and stuff, they spray paint the car and put the car back in order. Yes, he does that up to this day. Because my father was a mechanic as well, so my brother kind of, you know, follow that path. This is why I just always say, you know, when you is a woman and you have a man around you, whatever path he doing, your son go follow that path. So if he's selling drugs, your son is going to be a little drug dealer. If the husband is a doctor, well, your son will be studying to be a doctor or a lawyer or something. But you have to be careful. You understand? Because my father was into the mechanic and stuff, my brother was into the mechanic as well, because it was in our bloodline. My grandfather was also into the mechanic stuff, my father. So whatever the man is doing, his sons is very likely to follow. So I think I done what the Spirit laid on my heart to do today. Let me see if there's anything I forgot. You all know I'll be back anyway, because this story got many parts. I need to tell you all what it's like. Today I'm telling you all what it was like growing up with a mother who was going to the voodoo man so often and collecting all the Obeah man charms. I tell you all what that was like today. I will come back one day and I will let you all know what it was like living with that wizard, that Obeah man from Ghana. I never knew he was an Obeah man, never. But the Spirit of God made me go through that experience to learn and to understand my whole entire life. But it took them trying to kill me in order to figure it out. I will tell you all what happens when my experience living with that witch doctor from Ghana. I will let you all know my experience. You see these people who tamper in the Obeah and stuff? I had my mother, I seen it from a child. They never have a happy life, people. It's a very sad life they live. They go through a lot of terrible experiences when they are in this Obeah thing. We didn't have peace in our house, as I said. When you was being molested physically, it was spiritually. When it wasn't spiritually, you was being beaten. Before all that Obeah, we had a man who was preaching to us, who was worrying about the rabbits and the goats and multiplying. After that Obeah, it just subtracted, and divide the family. It caused division in the family. Plenty division up to this day. Up to this day, there is division. You know? And because of the things that transpired, like for example, because of the things that transpired, like my father messing with my sister, my bigger sister, who was not his daughter. She then had a lot of hate. She had a lot of hatred for my father's children, and she wanted revenge. That is why she gathered with my ex-in-laws and my ex-man to come and kill me, because she had hate for my father. She had hatred, so much hatred for my father. I got a sister my evil sister, who was not my father's child. I got a sister under me who is my father's child. Every one of the children under me is my father's children. So the sister directly under me, this my elder sister, who was not my father's child and was into all the Obias and was having the affair with my father, she boiled hot water one day with rice in the water, people, on the cooker with rice in the water. And she dashed that on my sister, giving my sister first degree burns. First degree burns. Why did she do that? Because she was into the witchcraft. My mother was also into the witchcraft. And this, my elder sister, as I said, she was having an affair with my father. Yes. So she wanted then revenge on his children. That is why she burnt my sister with hot water. My whole sister bottom is up to this day scarred for life. Disfigured and scarred. She disfigured and scarred my sister for life with that hot rice water. Why did she do that? Because she was having an affair with my father from young and she wanted revenge. It's like all his children, she wanted revenge. I even think and believe that she have a hand in my brother's death, because she tried threatening him before he took his own life. He was staying in her house and he had left. She had given him like a downstairs shack to stay in, and he left that shack. Like one day he was hungry and he left the shack he was in. She had him like a little jailbird under she house. Yes. And one day the boy was hungry and he went upstairs and he broke open her door to get food. And what did she do? She told me that she's going to fix him. She's going to do for him and do stuff for him. Yes. That is why when he died and he took his life, she wanted to go to Tobago to his funeral. And I told my family to hide from her. Duck her. Don't go with her. Because she told me, she said she need to go and pull his big foot, his big toe, the dead man big toe, so he could tell her who killed him. She was guilty as hell and behaving weird. So I told my siblings and them, I just wanted my brother to rest in peace. He already gone. And he had a very, very, very horrible, terrible life. I was close to that brother, so I know what I'm talking about. We were close. I know the demons, what was talking to him, and what they were telling him, because he used to tell me what the demons telling him. And I used to laugh. We used to smoke weed together, get high, and I used to laugh at it, but he was dead serious. I did not know at the time it was that serious. Them spirits used to tell him to sharpen the blade. And he used to sharpen the blade, sharpen it sharp, 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 and go and chop people up. That's what the spirits used to be telling my brother. And he fought that for a long while. He fight and he fight and he fight, until he eventually taken his own life. And he was going to take his baby mama with him as well. He called my mother and told my mother what he was going to do before he done it. This is the household after the Obia. This is what the Obia brought into our house. This is what the Obia brought into our house. My brother lost his life. He took his own life. After all the molestation and rape he witnessed, and see his sisters getting molested and raped. He later on took his own life. And this is what we experienced. He didn't just take his own life just like that. He took his own life because of the spirits, the same spirits, and them they invited, the spirits that brought my father back in the 3 days. Is those spirits what was running our household. Those spirits what was running our household, people. The spirit that brought him back in the 3 days. That is the spirit that was running the house, which was the devil. That's why we had all those stuff going on in the house. Suicide and rape. When you see a household like that, with all them suicide and rape and stuff, you must know you got somebody practicing witchcraft around. You understand? So, and as you hear in these stories I'm telling people, I think by now you all should know. I respect my mother. I respect my mother. I would not say anything bad about my mother, but the truth. My mother gave life to me. We do not have a relationship. And I'm fine with that, because some people who don't like to take accountability, I am happy to keep away. I am fine with that, peacefully. We don't need to be involved. We could be peacefully away. But the truth is the truth. I have to tell the stories as it is. This is what happened, you know. I can't lie. Then, you know, God would have put me through, I would have gone through all of this for nothing. But by telling these stories, I've got people in my family who still experiencing stuff because of the curse that the curses that they invited into the family, the spirits that they invited into the family. I have got families who is going through things that is connected to the curses in its family. And it will be, they can free themselves and understand themselves why they are feeling such things, why, you know, and they can be wiser. You know, some of them, not all of them, but some of them who God opened their eyes, and like how he have opened my eyes, because I realized that what was happening in my family is not normal. Everybody can be getting raped. Everybody cannot be in poverty. Everybody cannot be going through these things. I realized something was wrong. Too much people was getting molested and raped. Every woman that passed through the family line, that was not normal to me. I found that very, very strange. So, and when it came to my children, well, then I had was to, God make it happen, so that I could put the pieces together. Because for them, I don't know how my mother could have watched these things happen, because this is something that I wouldn't be able to watch happen in front of my face. I will have to kill that person. But I understand, because she basically invited the spirit to be there. That's why, you know, she was in that situation, because it was her who invited the spirits there. So she couldn't do anything different, you know. So yes, we'll be back as much as we can. We'll keep coming back as much as we can, and we'll keep telling you all bits and pieces of these stories. I'll let you all know what it was like living with that witch doctor man from Ghana. And the experiences, the things I saw as well with him, you know. He was trying to have a polygamy relationship. You know, he had a wife, and he was trying to have 2 wives. And I would tell you all what I know he done to the other wives. That's why she used to be always sick. You know, I never married to him. I was smarter than that, thank God. You know. But I'll tell you all what he used to do to the other wife that made her always to be sick. And I'll tell you all, you know, my experience with him, living with him. It was no bed of roses. These Obia people and these people who dealing with these witchcraft, they suffer. A lot of badness happen to them. Bad things happen to them. You know, all that glitters really isn't gold. If you know what the price they are paying for what they have, people, you would not be in envy of them at all. If you know the price they are paying for the material stuff they have, you will not envy them. And God have made me live around them and able to see, you know. So I see how they were flashing this and flashing that. But because I was in the background, I know what they were going through. I know the suffering they were going through and the price they were paying. And I have showed you all some of the price that they have paid. You know, my brother, he took his own life. My ex-in-laws, you see their brother, he's on the street. He's a vagrant. That's my ex-mother-in-law only son. She one and only son. And she loved that son to pieces. This is the consequences of their obia. This is the price they have to pay. The devil give them the concrete house, and the devil does, he go break the concrete house, they go rotten, it go fall apart, earthquake go hit that. They say the devil is fool all you. Trinidad James have to have a flood or earthquake, and that house, that concrete house, devil give you all the earthquake, take it away. But he got your son, what could have been an asset to you and your bloody family and his child. He got your son in the street eating all the garbage and begging people for money to take drugs. Going mad slowly with one eye, turn into a vagrant. This is the consequences of their obia. My mother couldn't have gone to my brother's funeral. She couldn't have gone to his funeral because she knew her hands was dirty, and she knew it was because of the obias that she was doing, the charms that she was collecting from the obia man. She knows that her children got molested. And up to this day, she still would not take responsibility for that. No, she will instead blame the children and say that the child was big. This is what she say about me. I was big enough to take man at age 6. She said I was big enough to take man. And that was my husband, my father. That's what she said. Imagine that type of mother. That is the mother that I had growing up. Okay? That type of, and she's still that same way today, because just recently she said I was big enough to take man, when one of my sister who have sense, who don't understand, she got children for herself, and she know, well, this story, if Natalie is telling the truth, this story is madness. This not right. This sister, this one had sense now. So she questioning things. She loving, but she questioning stuff because she got children herself. And when she asked my mother about this situation, my mother said, I was big enough to take man at age 6. This is mother I have. But God, I forgive her. I forgive her because I know the ancestors, they went through slavery and stuff, and this is what they saw the slave master doing to them in front of their face. So they thought it was normal and acceptable. So then they pass it on to their own children. So I forgive them. May God have mercy on them. But I have to tell my story the way it is. I don't have no hatred in my heart for none of my parents, but I cannot be around them. I don't want them to touch me. It might give me trauma. I might have a nervous breakdown or something. But being far away, the Lord have brought me far away from the situation at age 22. He brought me far away from the situation at age 22. I never thought I would even get back in this situation. But because those people came to kill me, they activated something inside of me. And you know what? My childhood dream was always to be a teacher. So I guess I need to be teaching on these spiritual things that I experience. So I will use my YouTube platform for such. So thank you for viewing. I am going to eat my fried rice and salad and fried chicken with some salad and have a cold beer. I think I deserve it. Have a blessed evening, morning, wherever you are watching from. Have a blessed day. God bless the Creator, whatever you call Him, the Force Supreme. May He bless you and keep you. And, keep you safe. 2023, all the best. I say.